a quick video here to show the Magnebed, how it works, and some of its features. I'm going to be using a CDR, but it works with every coil spring beaver trap currently on the market, the MB750 TS85, Bridger number 5, No BS Beaver Extreme, Montana number 5. I think that's all of them. If there's any I forgot, it works with them too. So the way it works is you have these adjusters here, and we snap the trap onto the magnets, which are right here. And the only thing you need to worry about snapping it on is that the chain's on. If you're using a slide wire or a drowning chain or something like that, you need to be on, if your chain or your wire is on this side, you need to have the chain on that side, and if it's on the other side, on this side. So we'll assume it's on this side, and we snap it on there. Now it's on there, and this, I'll show you some of these adjustments in a minute here. We start by turning these screws until they just touch. I have a couple of shims in this one to strengthen those springs just a little bit on this CDR. But then we lock these down. Those are little lock nuts just to keep them in place. And take this one until it just touches right there. Lock it in place. Now, that's just not even, doesn't rock or move at all. So it's adjustable. Let me pop this back off of here for a second. Now, if you need to spin this, like let's say your trap is at this angle and you're shoving it into a bank like this at an angle, you can remove these two bolts and it will spin on top of the removable base. I'm going to leave it locked solid for this demonstration, but you can do that if you need to. I rarely actually have to spin this part because you can just turn it however you want as you put the piling in, and I'll show you a piling here in a second. So let's snap it back on there, recheck our adjustments. Yeah, that seems good. That one's good. If you flip the trap around, sometimes you have to readjust. Now, all of the bolts and nuts on this thing are stainless steel, so they'll never rust tight on you. And the nuts are serrated flange nuts. So that means they grip and you don't need 2 wrenches to tighten and loosen things. So I'm just going to take my adjustable wrench here. I carry an adjustable wrench, and it allows me to get these things tight without anything else. So I can adjust it to my different bolt sizes for whatever adjustment I'm doing. But I'm going to lock it on there pretty solid. You can really crank on it. You're not going to mess that bolt up. Okay, now that's pretty tight. And then for my conditions around here, I use a stick typically about like this, sometimes a little longer. It accepts up to a 1-inch diameter stick. This is about a 3/4, and that tends to be what I use. So take that and lock it in, and you have that locked in there. I don't go, you can crush the stick if you go too tough. So now you've got it on there, it's rock solid. And one of the beauties of this is it uses this is essentially, it's a piling. And you know, in like places where the ground is soft, they put buildings on pilings. Pilings are the gold standard, and it's really kind of amazing just how solid this is. If you have, say you have really sloppy top situation where it's really loose, and if you put your trap in, it'll just sink down below the bottom. Well, this allows you to get down into the solid stuff, and it will hold that trap so it's just under the surface. And if you want, you can even go up above. But when I go up above, I'm dealing with a lot of educated beavers. So if I'm above the surface, I'm going to camouflage this with weeds and maybe even some brown paper sack material, things like that. So that's locked on there. Let's do a little demo here and show you what it does. This is my beaver weight scale. Now the red is what we're looking at. The black one is supposed to stop at the maximum, so you don't have to look at it while you're holding it up. You can see how high it went. But mine broke at some point. You know, I'm hard on things. So let's see here. We'll put it on the spring. We'll pull to about 45 pounds. Oh, there's 45 pounds there. Now we'll go to the loose jaw. Pull 45 pounds there. There's 45 pounds on the loose jaw, a little over. So that is not coming off of there. Now, the key is, you know, it's actually pretty easy to hold a beaver trap solid, right? You could nail it to a log if you wanted to. But then it is not going to come loose. It's going to stay there. It's not going to swivel, and your beaver's not going to be waiting for you. One of the beauties of this thing is that when that trap goes off, it pops off of there on its own, just like that. It just snaps right. The shock of the trap firing dislodges it from those magnets. So now your trap is free to go down the slide wire or swivel around a chain, whatever you need. Now, I've also have, let's take this out of here. This thing here is this is to show that what it's like with the base removed. You can remove that base and screw it to the top of a 2-inch post, and now you have something that is good for really deep, soft conditions. Around here, as of so far, I've not encountered a condition where I needed anything like this, but I do know a couple of people who have encountered those conditions, up north especially, and they'll be out where it's just 4-foot deep loon poo, and they say that this a 2-inch diameter pole, 4 foot long, will hold that thing solid in just about anything, and it gives you complete vertical control, so you can have that trap just under the surface or even up above, like I said earlier. So one of the things that I use this for sometimes, I used to mostly only use it in really soft conditions, but here recently I've been using it more in conditions like if I'm in front of a beaver dam, all those sticks that stick out, it's really difficult to get a trap to not rock around. So what I do is I just stomp those sticks down, put it on a Magnebed, and it's solid. It doesn't rock, it doesn't move, nothing moves. And then I'm also able to adjust its height. That's a key thing. Also, recently I was in a situation where I had to operate in a 100-yard section of stream for the county here where I work for, and it was cobbles this big around in mud, just all over the place, and I could not find a place that trap wouldn't rock. So I went back to the truck and grabbed a Magnebed, and I actually put a stick. Let me get this one here again. I actually used a stick that was only about 4 inches longer than the base of the Magnebed because I really didn't need the stability. What I needed, or it wasn't that it was soft, it was that my trap was rocking. So I managed to stick that down just that far, and what I did, I dug one cobble out, and I put the trap in the hole that was made by that cobble, and it held it nice and solid, and I just filtered in soft mud over it, and I was ready to go. So it can be a time saver, and it can allow you to put a trap in places you otherwise couldn't, and it can really make putting them some places a lot easier that maybe you could do it, but it would take you a 10-minute process to get it ready. That's about all I can think of right now. Maybe we'll do another video later, but that's a pretty good, I think, illustration of what this thing does. Yeah.